Before we invite the chairman or the chairperson to give remarks, I'll call the vice chairperson, Roberta, to give his little speech. Please, shall we put our hands together for Roberta? Thank you. You are a family person. I know you many times here.
Thank you so much. Well, this is the first time I ever stood in front of people like me. I'm an African, in case you don't know. So I probably will say a couple guns here and maybe a little fancy and touch over 10. And then no fraud then. Anyway, so just so you know, I am pure Ghanaian, and I have to be able to say this because people do ask me. Just Friday, somebody said, I thought you were Jamaican, and you know, I've never been to Jamaica. I don't have no roots in Jamaica at all. Just so I can clear the air a little bit. I am a pure Ghanaian. And yeah. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and to the kings and the queens, I just want to say thank you. To the team who really put this together, I just want to say that I am grateful that I'm part of history. It is really history in the making. We have never attended any program like this in Minnesota where we have really installed any queen on the seat. So for me, I think that this is history in the making. I also want to just thank you, Your Excellency, for taking this bold step. This is really a bold step. You know, it's not something that you can easily just get up and say, I want to be installed. So for you, I think this is a bold step that you have taken and shown us, you know, the courage in what really women are. But when we think about women, the rise of women into empowerment and into leadership position, we can think about history, about the Yasantues of Echisu, who really stood on the occasion to fight the European empires and really got rid of the European merchants and settlers that were living in the region at the time, in the Ashanti region, making the Ashanti region to have the empowerment of gaining independence. But when you fast forward that, you realize that it is not only Yasantua who became a queen, but there have been queens and kings and many, many queens. Recently I visited Ghana and I was in front of one of the kings there, and he took me to a place and I was really, you know, I will use the word, I was really surprised to see young women who have risen to that occasion of taking leadership positions. If we forward those values here into the American system, you realize that not too long ago we saw women rising up. So in the past, women were sidelined and their position was in the kitchen, or maybe their position was to make babies and that kind of stuff. But that is not the time in which we live in right now. You will realize that in this 21st century, we are seeing women rising up into very high position. Not too long ago, we saw somebody that come from a refugee camp, and I know you all know Oman. And she's now sitting at a table in Congress making decisions, making rules and laws to govern you and I. So what I'm saying, what does all of that got to do with our queen here? It is women empowerment. Recently you saw the vice president in Ghana going to an African country to really tell them how they need to govern themselves. I'm talking about women empowerment. And if you can't see what is going on, I would just like you to say, to open your eyes so that you can see what's happening around. So I think you are not doing anything strange. I think you are doing your own God-given talent and potentials that is already embedded in you. But you have come to that position for such a time as this. About 10 years ago, I was sitting in class with her. She was studying nursing. I was majoring in political science, international relations. And 10 years ago, she asked me a question. She said, once you get done with a degree, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know where I'm going with this, but my vision is that I'm climbing somewhere. I don't know where I'm going. She said, I'm also thinking about climbing somewhere. But fast forward at Bethel back at that time, it was only 5% people of color and black. So when we sit in class, we kind of like lock our eyes together when we see our skin tone and we connect right away. We don't say, oh, who is she and what is she and where does she come from? We just understood that because of the color of our skin, that we are different from the people that were around us. And so it was a moment for us to then connect, right? And to think about it. And she would come to me and she would say, you know, I just saw so-and-so, this other person of color, and she's taking maybe anthropology or computer science or whatever. And she would try to mobilize those people in the cafeteria or in the lunchroom. So I'm saying the story to say that, you know, I was sitting there and as I was thinking and reminiscing, I realized that she had those leadership skills and qualities a long time ago, wherein that she was mobilizing even in the classroom. So time is already spent. If I talk, I'll keep going. So all I want to say to you is I am extremely proud of you, and I think that this is a new chapter for you. For you to be able, it's very important that you be able to connect with your ancestry and your heritage, to be able to showcase this kind of brilliant, beautiful talent and cultures and potentials we see around here. But it's also because we don't live in Ascent right now. About 10,000 Ghanaians, statistically, call Minnesota their home. And I'm going to repeat that. About, right now, it's less than maybe 500. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about 10,000 Ghanaians, statistically, living in Minnesota, with 4,000 Ghanaians living in a twin city. What does that mean? As we assimilate and live here, we assimilate into the American culture. And then we lose touch with our own culture. And for me, I went through that. You know, you lose complete touch of your culture. But this culture here begins to bring into mind where we come from. So I think it's an opportunity for you to take that moment, to take that potential, and be able to embrace those cultures, bringing the young girls who will be losing their cultures, you know, and showing them back to the root and the heritage, to embrace who we are. But also, I work in a place wherein when I sit there, they ask me, where do you come from? And then I say, I'm Ghanaian. And then they will say questions like, but where are all the Ghanaians? And I say, they are there. And at the table are Somalians and Liberians and whatever, right there at the table. But I'd like to tell you, we gained independence before they did. We're brilliant more than they are. I'm saying we have somebody who is in Congress making decisions. She was a refugee. What does that all mean then? It means it's about time we begin to understand that this is our space. We say we're going back home. We ain't going home. We come here every time. We go home 1 month, 2 months, and then we are back here. We're really spending our time here, and we're living our life here. So if this is the place for us, then we must be emancipated and take positions and take over authority and begin to connect with the resources and the systems to build our Ghanaian Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me. Congratulations.
Please, give it to her. Give it to her, please. You know, she threw a big challenge to the Ghanaian community that we should come out from the darkness. We've been hiding too much, and it is true. If you go to many places in Minnesota, you will see Ghanaians. They are quiet. But when it comes to which country that the citizens work so hard around the whole world, number one, Ghanaians. But please, in a community building, let us rise up and let's help. Mama, ye see na semni na ye nyi ehumadi. That the entire whole shadow. Minima me o hwe mani mu a wotia obetimi ejijuma amanka. Ni dia pasopa so ompe no mo asenti. Waye din wote o. Mama ye mpeda ye. Nanam odiye modaroma ene mu eji eku egu ewiem. Achire mofra no se yenso ye wodachi. Na otu ani hwe bonkum ha. On my left side, you see the youth. Most of them, they are doing international courses in St. Clair's University, and they are here today. You know, I'm glad that they are seeing what we are seeing now. It's a culture. If you forget the sound of your village, you lose yourself in the gathering, right? So, woman will really feel Obeyira. Enti die ne nananom ayi ebufom yi eni ne yehu na hayi. I think Sengaminso ka beka se we ni die di kan a yesi ohene ana ohema e wo krum ha. Mo se kese ma asen. Yes, ye wanananom bebre na enso ye nyi bibie di se e wa hada. Enti binim se we ye di kan baby the better so obi catch them was or more busuafo so e be isi wo hema yeah let's just say e kekamba then